Hello, today I am reviewing a brand new knife I got. This is a special treat for me because I've worked in the catering industry for about 13 years or so, and I've never taken the plunge to buy really nice knives. I have cheapy knives at home, and all the chefs I've ever worked with, I do the management of the events, the management of the parties, cafe and catering, cafeteria style. We do big events, small events, and every knife chef I've ever worked with, they have a really nice set of knives. They carry them around, usually in those fold-out cases, and every knife has its slot, and it has a little handle. Sometimes they're in sturdier cases, like a box, but it's usually those leathery or fabric cases, and they do not let anybody in the kitchen touch them. They never put them in a dishwasher. They hand wash their own knives, and they would probably fire somebody if somebody were to use their knife or put them in a dishwasher, because that will dull the blade. And quality knives like this from A Cut Above, you just don't put them in the dishwasher. You just don't do that. So I'm very intrigued by this knife because this is the first time I've held or used a Damascus steel knife. And if you look at it here, you can see the pattern. Damascus, Woots, and Pattern Weld, these are all just names given to two or more steel alloys that are forged together in this wavy, artistic pattern. It's kind of like flowing water if you see it. It's got banding and mottling that gives it like this intricate little design. It's beautiful, and it's based on a type of forging and repeated heating and forging process that became prominent during the medieval period. So it might not be the exact same methods, of course, that they used back then, but it's still going to stay sharper longer than most production quality knives. So the modern pattern welded knives are just a much better quality than you're going to get in a regular stainless steel knife. So I also found out that this handle here, and you can again see the design here, they put a nice design along here that matches this welded look. This is a micarta handle, which is basically a resin. It gives you more grip when it's handled if it's wet. Sometimes in the industry you're cooking, you're touching foods, the handle of your knife can get wet. So you want to have a really good grip that's very ergonomically friendly and comfortable. Micarta is basically it's resin impregnated fibers, and it's very strong. It's used for heavy equipment, aerospace, automotive, office equipment. It's used commonly in electronics, for electronic insulation, and you can use it in safety gear like hard hats, handgun grips, guitar, fingerboards and stuff like that. So this kind of material is not going to chip or crack or break off. And this is a single tang. This is just, as you can see, it's not just glued in right here. It's a very high quality knife. So it's a treat. I can finally get rid of this old nasty knife, which has a little bent tip on it, and it's not very comfortable to hold. And this is, just a regular knife. I've had it for over 20 years. It's ridiculously dull at this point. So I'm treating myself to something great. So we'll test it out here. I have some limes. I love to cut up limes and put them in my water. If I have guests coming over, I always cut up a bunch of limes to have with beverages and cocktails. And oh my gosh, this is like cutting through butter. And these limes are very, they're getting a little bit older, so they've got a hard skin on them. And this is just like cutting through a very soft tomato. It's so light. So by comparison, if I were to take one of these limes and cut it with my other knife, I am pressing down hard on it to get the same kind of, and it's bending. Look what it's doing. So as you can see, my old knife is just a miserable failure, and it's doomed for the trash. So using something like this is just a very nice little treat. And also, it's important to note that when you're cutting, if you're doing a lot of chopping and you're doing one of these chop, don't go chop like bringing your knife down like this, you keep the tip of the knife on the board, and it's more of a rocking motion. And put one finger on each side of the blade here, and then you wrap your fingers here. And then if you're cutting, say, herbs, don't put your fingers out like this to hold the herbs. Curl your fingers in like this. Okay, that way you can hold it, and the knife blade is going like this. And if you're cutting things like green onions or herbs, you can just move your knife and your fingers down like this. Okay, that's just a little bit of tip. I see people do that, and it just makes me want to cringe. So, like, it's cutting through this apple with ease. And if you're gonna do like a little apple salad, it's cutting through really nicely. I can make really nice little cuts like that. This is a really great knife. It's well balanced. It's comfortable. It's very comfortable in my hand. It feels very weighty, but it's not too heavy. So I like it. It's extremely sharp. I've hand washed it once before using it. Obviously, I'm gonna keep hand washing it. And since this is such a special knife, I'm gonna keep storing it in the nice box it comes in. This is like a handmade bamboo box. It's got soft foam here. Came with a plastic covering that slides over the blade. What I like about this is it's got a storage thing right here, so you could just put the blade into the storage. This is like a hard, very sturdy plastic. So if you're transporting your knife, if you need to take it to somewhere where you need to do some cutting, like a special event or whatever, you could transport it safely in this, or of course the box. And it comes like a little tip that goes on the edge of the blade too, to keep it safe. You don't want to get damage to the tip of the blade. So it's really great. I like it. Giving it a thumbs up. Very nice. Thank you.